Welcome to Q&A Selling Online, with answers to questions about creating an online empire, promoting products, or building a brand. Your host, private label and e-commerce entrepreneur, Quinn Amorm.
Welcome to the show, my friends. Today we have with us an expert in software engineering, omnichannel app development, DevOps, cloud computing, big data, blockchain, machine learning, and you name it. He actually was invited by IBM CASCON in IEEE to present the academic speech of the blockchain cloud computing. So that should tell you a lot right there. He is also the founder and the CEO of Fintelics, which is an advanced technology consulting and solution development company. So we have with us today Will Zhang. Will, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's it going, my friend?
Very good. So, man, you are also, besides what I said, you're also Canada's Developer 30 under 30. And that is, I mean, that's impressive. One, it's almost scary just to name the things that you do, because it is something that I always wanted to do, and I never got to do it, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking offline, because, man, there's a lot of math involved in this, and there's a lot of studying, and at the time I didn't have the patience.
Right.
So congratulations, one, for being able to do that. And was that always your dream?
To be honest, it didn't really got to me until much later stage in my career. In the beginning, I wanted to work for a big company. IBM was my dream company. It meant a lot of cool stuff. When I was an undergrad, I learned a lot about IBM, like, for instance, IBM Watson. I learned about SQL, which was like a way of, designing a database. And first learned about SQL, I learned that IBM was actually played an important part in creating the SQL convention, Structured Query Language Convention, right? So going into IBM, it was my dream company. Worked there for a little while. I feel like I wanted something that's a little bit more rapid. Like I'm able to create more things, because IBM is a huge company. Your contribution sometimes plays a part of a bigger project, right? So I wanted something that I can have more control with. Like I can build the entire project kind of on my own. So then I started working for a startup. But once the product launched, I realized that the learning and sort of this development type of mentality stopped, because you're moving from just purely development, building something, to maintaining it and doing operation side of things, right? So that's when I discovered what my true passion is, which is the constant learning and adopting and adapting to like newer technologies. So that's why that's what sort of gave the idea of Fintelics. And I think 2 years down the road, we're growing and going as strong as ever. So here we are.
Very good. So you wanted to work for IBM. You did. And then at one point, they actually invited you over to do a speech of blockchain and cloud.
Yeah, IBM CASCON is more like an academic seminar or conference. They invite different scholars. I was in touch with one of the professors at UT who invited me to give a workshop at IBM CASCON related to building blockchain and cloud native solutions, leveraging blockchain solution. IBM played a big part in creating enterprise blockchain as well. They created Hyperledger Fabric, which is commonly adopted by the industry as a private consortium chain, as opposed to something like Ethereum, which is more public, facing the general public.
Mm-hmm. So now you are the founder and the CEO of what is the leading experts in omnichannel software, because that is a award that you guys won, right?
Right.
So where did the name come from? What does it mean?
So we were awarded by Well-Time Finance International. That award was given to us mainly because we developed many production grade solutions that are launched in App Store. To name a few, like you can check out Blur Shop, which is a luxury product trading platform. We designed the app so that it gave the user similar type of experience wants to use it on mobile, like using mobile as a mobile app, or you view this on a browser via desktop. So a decent percentage of our clientele are actually startups, and we position ourselves to help startup building POC and move on to second generation, third generation product. Through this iteration cycle, we find that almost all the startups want to build some type of what we call POC, proof of concept, the first generation product, some easy to use, simpler version of the product, prototype, so that they can test out the water, see if the market really like their idea, right? And when they do that, it's usually some type of website or web app. And it doesn't take a lot of effort to create. We build that, but usually, the next phase is that they want to build something, on mobile, because everyone uses their cell phone nowadays. So to help them set the stage for their second generation product, we design the product with the mindset that they're going to multiple channel, hence the name Omnichannel, right? On social media, on mobile, right? In mind. And then that really enforces their brand, make sure their brand awareness is being pushed out through a different channel of product and give the user similar type of user experience. Like for instance, if you think of Airbnb or Uber, right? Their user experience is very similar, whether you use their app on website, on browser, in desktop, or you use it using the Uber, mobile app. So that's a classic experience of someone who is in an organization that are great at designing app with the omnichannel experience, creating the omnichannel experience in mind.
Very good. So if somebody wanted an app or any kind of development, basically, they could go to Fintelics and just ask you or tell you what they want, and you guys could develop it. Is that it?
Yeah. We do it all. Yeah, I mean, shameless plug right there. We are, yeah.
So I heard that recently you guys became one of the few AWS advanced level consulting partners. Right. What exactly does that mean for those that don't know? Is that a big deal, and what does it mean for the business?
Yeah, it is. It is kind of a big deal, especially for a company that founded in less than 3 years ago. I mean, so AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. It's a cloud computing cloud provider, and it has the biggest market share. It's a spinoff of Amazon, the Amazon Enterprise, and it's like almost every startup and almost a majority of enterprise now, these Fortune 500 companies now use AWS, Amazon Web Services. And when you become a consulting partner, usually they evaluate you based on your launch opportunity. How much product have you built on Amazon platform, Amazon Web Services, AWS platform? And also, if your customer have success stories, if your customer really like your services. So they evaluate all these criteria, and then they decide whether or not they gave you or award you the designation to become a advanced level consulting partner. And it's pretty rare to become an advanced level consulting partner, especially in the Canadian scene, because Canada has a relatively smaller market size, and also and just in general, becoming an advanced level consulting partner is quite difficult because you need to launch quite a few successful product, and your team need to have a decent amount of competency. There needs to be qualified professionals with proper certifications certified by Amazon. So I think it is a major accomplishment. To sort of put things in perspective, have you ever heard of KPMG?
No, I don't think
so. So KPMG, PwC, those big consulting firms are advanced level AWS, AWS advanced level consulting partner. Even though that they're pretty big in the auditing and financial sector, but that just sort of speaks for the kind of level of difficulty and legitimacy when it comes down to AWS advanced level consulting partner. It speaks quite a lot of volume when it comes down to cloud computing as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you done any work on the Amazon platform itself, like developing tools for Amazon sellers and anything that connects to Amazon through API?
Right. So we built a lot of these products for e-commerce, but we haven't really directly hook it up to the Amazon, the Amazon e-commerce shop yet. But it's primarily, when it comes down to cloud computing, there's three different types of services. There's infrastructure, which is, hosting and designing for scalability. And there's also platform as a service and software as a service. So it's not just really Amazon, the e-commerce ecosystem, or more so, how do you develop a more generic software application or software products and host it on Amazon Web Service, which is technically, think of it as a machine provider.
So how were you able? You said it was around 2 to 3 years that you've been doing it for your own company. How was it that you managed to achieve so much in such a short time? Like you won awards, you helped several startups during your venture, and even the AWS, right? So how did you? What's special?
So I think it has a lot to do with your passion and drive. Like if you really for instance, I really enjoy what I'm doing. So I work as many as 80 hours weeks, right? During the day, I would, enter into some full-time engagement, consulting or building product for clients. And then at night, I would have discussion meetings with the team members and also working on networking and, working on growing the business. So, it's really, if you're willing to learn and if you're eager to adapt to the changes, there's a lot of opportunities. And I think that goes, for every industry. I just I'm blessed and, grateful that I'm in an industry where I'm really passionate about. And that really, helped me in terms of motivating myself and motivating my teammates, the team that I built, the company that I built, every individual member. Cause it's hard when you don't believe in what you preach. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you say you're passionate about something, but you're not really, and you don't want to spend the time and effort in learning every nitty gritty detail of the technology that you're building, it's really hard to convey that to your customer, to your team members. And when that happens, the company won't move as efficiently as it is. And we're all about building the best practice. It's not just a matter of solving a problem. It's how do you solve the problem with the best way, with the optimal way for our clients. So, and the only way for you to go that extra mile is through passion. So I think that's kind of the secret sauce, of how we are able to move that far.
I love that. The passion is one of the best drivers for anybody to be able to work those 80 hours a week. And
right. You can go up to 100 hours and you don't feel tired doing that because once again, you love it. It's kind of like your hobby, if you enjoy playing video games, you play that for, 80 hours, 100 hours, you probably won't feel tired at all. Right. So it's a similar concept here.
Exactly. I love what I do too. So I do it every single day and, 12, 14 hours a day. It's because, I love doing it. So I understand completely what you're saying there.
Right.
So how big is your team right now?
So we have about 15 people, and we're still growing and expanding. Now because of the COVID situation, this growing speed has been slowing down a little bit. We'd like to expand our team and onboard more clients, but we're still, kind of an early stage startup. And we have roughly about 20 people if you include the people who are working worldwide.
So
your people in Toronto office.
And you're in Toronto, like you just said, Toronto office. Why not Silicon Valley? Is that a dream still? Is that a possibility, or you don't care about it?
Yeah, we're looking to expand to US next year. But why Toronto? Because I, grew up in Ontario. I grew up in Barrie. It's a small town just in north of Toronto, and Toronto it seems like the most viable place to kick off your dream, kind of, in the tech industry. And it's not exactly like Silicon Valley in a sense that it's not purely focused on technology. It's also a center of finance, right? So, when I founded the company, I thought of the name. What do I like? I like finance. I like technology, and I like to work with smart people. So finance, technology, intellects, Fintelics, right? So that's what really gave the inspiration for the company name. But I think Toronto just got so much potential, and I believe it's going to be, the Canada's version of Silicon Valley, and also has something that Silicon Valley doesn't really have as much. It's more like the kind of like, if you think about Toronto, it's not just the San Francisco of Canada, but also the New York City of Canada, right? It's also the center of finance, right? So it's where a lot of things happen, a lot of opportunities happen, and obviously it's not like there's definitely more opportunities in the U.S. because the market size is just bigger. But in terms of starting something in Canada, Toronto is definitely a great place.
Definitely. And since now everything is depending on the online world, right? You can be anywhere and you can be serving a customer anywhere in the world. So
correct.
So you're passionate about cloud native and cloud agnostic solutions. What exactly are these?
So there are multiple cloud providers. We just talked about one of them, and it's provided by Amazon. It's called Amazon Web Service, AWS. There's also another cloud provider called Microsoft Azure. Have you heard of a company named called Microsoft?
Yeah, vaguely, yes.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah, somewhat, yeah. No. Microsoft Azure is one of the biggest cloud providers in the market, and so does Google Cloud Platform, which is, supported by Google. And they each have their own specialty, right? If you think about enterprise offering and just Microsoft related products, how they work in orchestration with cloud, then you can probably think of Microsoft Azure. Like that's a really good, because it has really good foundation, really good support in terms of Microsoft native product, right? If you think about data machine learning type of service, you can probably think of Google Cloud Platform because they have really solid product and solution offering for data analytics, for big data, and also for machine learning. But if you want something that's more complete in terms of the overall completeness of the ecosystem and market dominance, you're thinking and reliability, you're thinking of AWS, right? So each of them has their own strengths and weaknesses and their specialties. And depending on your business use case, you don't really necessarily select the best cloud. You select the cloud provider that is for you. And you develop product and offerings and solutions based on that cloud provider, leveraging their own, service and offering. So that's called cloud native. So if I'm a data analytic company and I build my product on Google Cloud Platform, right, I can leverage a lot of their data analytic capabilities and data ingestion, data engineering capabilities. And but that type of capability only exists in Google Cloud Platform, right? If I migrate that to Amazon Web Service, I need a lot of re-engineering, a lot of thinking, right? So the flip side of building something that's cloud native and leverage a cloud platform's capability to the fullest is you become dependent onto that platform, and hence give birth to the idea of being cloud agnostic, meaning that you're able to lift and shift your product onto any other cloud platform. So if you build a cloud agnostic product, you build it on top of Amazon, and one day you decided that perhaps you want to test out the water with other cloud provider. You can easily do that. You can simply migrate that onto another cloud platform. And this type of lift and shift approach is really fascinating, and it's very empowering in terms of giving you flexibility for your business. Yeah. Right. And also, you are adopting a lot of the sort of the open source framework, open source technology. So, in terms of attracting technical talent who really believe in open source practice, there's also a lot of potential here. So obviously, as you can probably already tell, cloud native and cloud agnostic each have their own strengths and weaknesses and their own unique use cases. And it's just fascinating. I'm really interested in kind of comparing those two. And sometimes you can design a product that is both cloud native and cloud agnostic. Does that make sense? So for instance, let's say an open source service like Kubernetes. There's something called Kubernetes, which is something that's used to orchestrate containers. Each cloud provider have their own version of that service, have their own version of Kubernetes. Amazon has something called EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and Azure has something called AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. And Google has GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine. Now, all of them have their own cloud native version of fully managed Kubernetes service. But if you design your product based on containerization and Kubernetes, you can easily transfer the Kubernetes from one platform to the other one. Even though there's a bit of a learning curve in terms of learning what's their platform's UI look like, but the learning curve is not that steep, right? So there you are able to develop something that is both cloud native and cloud agnostic. But in order to do that, you have to understand every platform's strengths and weaknesses and understand their product offering, and also have some background with cloud agnostic solution design.
So one of the things I want to know, since you're in it, there's a lot of people out there that are afraid of, you mentioned machine learning, AI, because of movies, and you see the end of the world is
right.
Like RoboCop or whatever. What do you think about it? Do you worry about machine learning or AI, or because you're in that world, you have zero worries?
So, there's a foundation called OpenAI that specifically deal with this type of ethical AI type of discussion. So it was funded by Elon Musk and a group of other professionals, and their goal is to develop artificial intelligence and build AI-related products to serve human, right? So it's definitely an initiative and something that people always have in mind when it comes down to leveraging machine learning or artificial intelligence when they create product offering. Right now, it's not a threat to humanity in the current stage. Now, it's hard to say for the next 10, 20 years what it'll be, but in the foreseeable near future, it doesn't pose any threats. However, it does automate a lot of tasks and jobs that can be done, previously with labor force. But that's inevitable. The economy will be, shifted towards something that's more kind of a efficient form. It's you can't stop technology from advancing.
Yeah.
The key thing here is how to make sure that how do you transition industry professionals to help them assimilate and migrate into newer job positions that become the social problems, and that's something that we even are constantly thinking about. We're in the process of developing a knowledge sharing platform that allow knowledge transfer from one person to the other. That the overall process become much more easier. So imagine, let's say you're an accountant, right? In the world of automation, a lot of your work can be automated. And if you only do things manually, you're likely not as competitive as someone who knows about automation, right? Because the work that can be done by yourself, you can easily automate that and do it much more quicker, right? So for an accountant, it may be important or valuable for me to learn something about automation. How do I automate something with a script, right? And me as a programmer, I probably want to learn something about accounting because my job requires it. Like, let's say if I work for a company like Intuit or, some company that deal with ERP, right? That deal with a lot of the accounting procedure. So I want to learn accounting. And then there's another accountant who wants to learn about programming. I can create a course and then trade that knowledge with the accountant's, accounting course knowledge. And in this process, I get to learn more about accounting and that person get to learn more about software development. And, I think this type of sort of knowledge swap and adapting to new environment, this type of technology or this type of way of thinking will become more popular as automation kicks in, as the machine learning, the artificial intelligence become more massively adopted in the market.
Okay.
So yes, I think there's definitely threat in the sense that you can't expect yourself to do repetitive jobs, manual jobs throughout your entire career. But there's also a lot of opportunities for you to adapt to new environment and capitalize the technology advancement, if that makes sense.
It does. So listen, one of the things I want to know, for example, as a consumer, I was not too long ago, over the last few weeks, looking at two tools, basically two software uh, providers or software, I guess software as a service, I suppose. And both companies wanted my business and both said they were AI based companies. But company A would say that company B is not AI, and company B would say the same thing about the other one.
Right.
How can a normal person that, like me, that doesn't know anything about coding, how can I tell if it is an AI or if it's just if then statements?
Most of the companies out there are using AI for data science or process automation.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that this is not a practice or a domain in artificial intelligence, but AI is definitely much more. But so far, like the most realistic use case of AI is machine learning. Is to use historical data to sort of train models and create something called predictive analytics to sort of predict something that could happen given particular scenario. Yeah. So if you're really interested, you can look at Professor Andrew Wu's. His last name is NG, right? But that's how you pronounce it. It's supposed to be Wu, but anyways. Yeah. Look at his lecture. He put it very nicely. So the machine or AI has gotten really good at doing something like basically receiving some type of input and give you some output and classify some type of output. The machines have gotten really good at that. So that's the type of AI that, what market or what startups commonly refer to themselves to. Like if they say, I'm offering some AI product, that doesn't necessarily mean that, that they have something, they have like a robot on the other end that can, behave like a human. That just means that they're able to do things in autonomous fashion, and it requires less human labor, and it provides really high, by really high, I mean close to 100%. Or at least there's some human intervention there to make sure that it gets to 100% when they deliver the output.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So who is your primary target market?
Our primary target market are mainly like startups that are looking to build, proof of concept first generation product and looking to scale up from there. Sometimes we also have enterprise clients, which we allocate dedicated consultants on site to help them develop or solve their particular problems. So it's really two ends of the spectrum, right? Either you're like a multi-billion dollar enterprise, or you're a startup that are VC funded and you want to build your first generation product. Those two ends of the spectrum. Rarely do we see a traditional industry that has decent amount of revenue come to us and ask us to design a customized solution for them. But I think that may change. But so far, that's what we observed in the market.
All right, and now one of the things that goes through my head is, for example, you are in Canada and your team is in Canada, right? So, I mean, I know how good you guys are, but for the person that doesn't know, often there's solutions like overseas that, if you want to hire somebody for $4 or $5 an hour, there's such thing, right? I'm not saying that I recommend it.
No, I would recommend that. Yeah, if you trust someone who would build something for you for $5, and there are tons of vendors out there that do that. Mm-hmm. I recommend you go with it. Like you're willing to take the risk, then you should at least test out the water. But there are a lot of our clients who've been through that route and realize that it's not for them. They came to us and asked us to design something that's more robust, and they're in for the kind of like call it the customer experience, or they're here because they believe that because we're passionate, we're competent, what we build is more reliable, and at the end they realize what they envision in mind is actually true. So yeah.
Very good. I actually had somebody here on this.
Yeah, that's a very interesting, discussion and conversation because people who provide that type of outsourcing services, namely like a lot of development shops in India, they work with a lot of traditional technical stack, like for instance WordPress, or they build really nice website using HTML template. Mm-hmm. And they charge really really low price compared to North America. But that usually isn't our target market or target clientele. We're looking to adopt best practice. We're looking to become sort of the market thought leaders, and developing the best practice in the industry, as opposed to leveraging some of the traditional stack and use something like a template. There are a lot of businesses and a lot of use cases where you can do that, but that goes against the kind of our vision and our target market, who are looking to innovate and looking to create a competitive software solution. So that's what I would have to say to that.
All right, I actually have one of the cases that one of the guys, he was on this podcast. I interviewed him, and he told a story of how he had one of those companies develop a tool for him, and he paid for it, and they did develop it, but they never gave it to him. What? So he ended up paying for the development, but he didn't receive the delivery. And they did build it, but I guess somebody else kept it. So
how does that make sense? That's so bizarre. So he didn't receive the source code, nothing?
Yeah, exactly. He didn't receive anything, but because he was, I guess he didn't know how things work, right? And nothing was under his accounts or anything. It was just being developed. And then that's what it was. He didn't get anything back.
Yeah. So another advantage of hiring a local team or working with teams that are local is that if you do that, you get sued. Yeah. Right. So there's the legal protection, and it's harder to I guess go after the people who are kind of offshore.
Yeah, so they don't have anything for you to sue, right? There is no company, there is nothing to grab onto. So you need a bit of security if you're developing something serious. I mean, get a serious team. So there you go.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah,
hit or miss. You toss something there, it may land in a big jar, or sometimes it may just fall on the ground.
So, Will, how do you drive customers now to Fintelics? Do you run ads? Do you use LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, we use LinkedIn a lot. We try to push out content, sometimes write a Medium article, or sometimes create podcasts like this or videos where we talk about technology and what are the technology trends, and sometimes we invite guests to our own like kind of interview and discussion videos. And we don't really do much digital advertisement yet. We haven't really done much yet. Majority of our clients are just kind of organic. They've heard of us, they've seen us, and they want to learn more about us, or they know us through another referral. But that's definitely something that we're looking to do next. And also, it's something that we have in the back of our mind because aside from the consulting practice, we're also sort of a product team. We incubate some of our own products and develop our own solutions on the side from time to time. Like 30% of our business line come from developing and incubating our own product, and 70% obviously come from the consulting practice and developing product and solution for our clients. So as we scale those type of like incubated product, for instance, accounting automation tool or a knowledge sharing platform, those type of things, how do we scale those and make sure we reach out to more people? That definitely relies on digital marketing and social media advertisement, etc.
Well, I mentioned earlier, one of the things I always wanted to do was to become a developer or programmer. And one of the reasons was because I wanted to be able to, if I'm doing something and I find a task that I do often, I wanted to be able to automate my own tasks, right? Just build something for myself. how often do you do such thing? Like if you find, do you build things for yourself that
all the time.
Yeah.
I think as a developer, sometimes you have to do that. Aside from learning the software in the market, sometimes you just have to get your hands dirty, and you have to build things on your own to speed up your task. I think if I have to do something repetitive for over 3 times, I'm starting to think, oh, can I automate this? It's kind of like a habit now that I'm in this industry. I think for people who are watching this, if you are interested, you should start picking up like a software language, like a Python. Learn about Python, and you can do a lot of things on your own. You can try to automate a lot of the things, mundane tasks that you have to do in your daily life, such as keeping track of records or making sure that your some of the files, like you named the files correctly, etc., etc.
Yeah, very good. So we'll let everybody know if they want to find Fintelics and if they want to find you, learn more about it, where can they go?
You can either go on Fintelics.com or just send us an email at info@Fintelics.com.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Fintelics.com. Email is info@Fintelics.com. Cool. And I'll put that on the show notes so you guys can check it out. And I'll do it too. Because like I said, I often have things that I want to, ideas that come to my head. So I'll, whenever I get the next one, I'll contact you, Will.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks for being here, Will.
Thank you so much, man. You have a very nice day.